I appreciate you joining me today. We're going to be looking at the end of Judges today, and it is a difficult, horrid account. But we'll look at it and we'll make a point or two about it. Our hymn today is called "Hiding in Thee."
Oh, say to the rock that is higher than I, my soul in its conflicts and sorrows to fly. So stiff, though so weary, like thy good I be. Thy blessed rock of ages, I'm hiding in thee. Hiding in thee. Hiding in thee. Thy blessed rock of ages, I'm hiding in thee.
Okay, let's look at the end of Judges now. Chapter 19, after what directly precedes this is the account of, I believe his name is Micah, and the idol. And that was in and of itself a horrible account, and now this is another horrible account. You have the Levite and his concubine, and if you're familiar with it, you know how horrible it is, and we won't dwell on those details, but we need to go through because we're looking at the Benjamites is where we're trying to get to. And so you have the Levite and his concubine. They come to a certain place, and they want to stay among their own brethren, and that would be in Gibeah. And the Gibeonites end up killing his concubine after treating her in a carnal manner. Verse 22. Just a horrible account. And the Levite calls Israel to bear, or if that's the right phrase. There's going to be an accounting, and so what ends up happening is Israel comes to Benjamin and says, "You need to turn those people over, those people who've done this." And Benjamin says, "We ain't doing it. They're our people. They're Benjamites, and we're not turning them over." What that leads to is civil war. Israel goes to war with Benjamin. And at first, Benjamin whoops them a couple times. But then, and I think the reason for that is because there's plenty of sin to go around. But then the tides turn because the Lord turns the tides. And Benjamin is defeated, and they're almost completely wiped off the map. There's 600 of them left, and 600 of them are going to end up fleeing. They're going to end up fleeing to the rock of Rimmon. Verse 43, they surrounded the Benjamites, chased them, and easily trampled them down as far as the front of Gibeah toward the east, and 18,000 men of Benjamin fell. All these were men of valor. Then they turned and fled toward the wilderness to the rock of Rimmon. They cut down 5,000 of them on the highways, and then they pursued them relentlessly. But here they are, and they are at the rock of Rimmon, and you can tell that from the next chapter. Because in the next chapter, verse 1, it says, "None of us shall give his daughter." They'd sworn an oath, Israel had, "None of us shall give his daughter to Benjamin as a wife." And so they're weeping because the tribe of Benjamin is going to be, the one tribe is going to be lost. And so they lift up their voice, they weep. Why has this come to pass in Israel? Verse 3. Then they decide to do this. They want to know who didn't show up when the call went out to come to the battle. And lo and behold, no one from Jabesh Gilead had come. And so they're going to take the wives from Jabesh Gilead. They're going to take women from Jabesh Gilead. And that's verse 9 and 10. Go strike the inhabitants of Jabesh Gilead, and this is what you shall do. And they take those women. All right, now let's, as horrible as this account is, So you have 600 Benjamites who are at the rock of Rimmon. And then the whole congregation sent word to the children of Benjamin who were at the rock of Rimmon and announced peace to them. And as horrible as this account is, the wonderful thing about the Lord is that He has announced peace to us. All have sinned and come short of the glory of God. All have sinned. And the Lord, through the Lord we have peace. Peace has been announced. The good news, the gospel. Peace towards men of good will. You might think about it. Do we deserve that peace? Not even remotely. But the Lord has announced peace. They announced peace to the Benjamites. And so Benjamin came back at that time, and they gave them the women whom they had saved alive of the women of Jabesh Gilead. And as difficult as this account is, let's just make this point. Not only has the Lord announced peace, the Lord has also provided for us. The Lord has provided for us. If this is not done for the Benjamites, then the Benjamites, the 600 who didn't die in battle, that would be the last of the Benjamites. And so with every funeral, the tribe would slowly just come to nothing. And so wives were provided for them. And as many questions as that brings up, we simply make the application that the Lord has provided for us. And again, we don't deserve the Lord's provision, but the Lord has provided the way. He is the way. He blesses us. He gives us what we need and more so. And we're thankful for the Lord's providing for us. Do you remember when Abraham takes Isaac up on Mount Moriah, and when the ram is found, do you remember what Moses calls the place? The Lord will provide, as it is this day. Back to the account. And so there were still not enough women. And so you're going to have the virgins there at Shiloh. And wives are going to be taken there. And it shall be, verse 22, when their fathers or their brothers come to us to complain, that we will say to them, be kind to them for our sakes, because we did not take a wife for any of them in the war. For it is not as though you have given the women to them at this time, making yourself guilty of your oath. And the children of Benjamin did so. They took enough wives for their number from those who danced, whom they caught. Then they went and returned to their inheritance, and they rebuilt their cities and dwelt in them. They went home. And it's a wonderful thing that the Lord has prepared a home for us. Again, we don't deserve it. All of this is what we have is by God's grace. And the way that we have peace, and the way that we have provision, and the way that we have an eternal home is all, pardon me, I always push the wrong button. The way we have peace and provision and an eternal home is all because of our King. And we don't say this boastfully. That's how we're able to have a better life. I have come that they may have life and have it abundantly, Jesus says. And there's so much that happens at the end of Judges that is just horrible. And it's horrible because everyone's doing what's right in their own eyes. But you might think about, as they flee to the rock of Rimmon, we flee to the rock that is Jesus. And we are blessed and we are saved because we flee to that rock, and now we will consider our hymn. O safe to the rock that is higher than I, my soul in its conflicts and sorrows would fly. So sinful, so weary, thine would I be. Thou blessed rock of ages, I'm hiding in thee. Hiding in thee, hiding in thee. Thou blessed rock of ages, I'm hiding in thee. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise.